All right, summer is officially here. And while we absolutely love all that sunshine, our poor gardens can sometimes, well, they can feel the heat a little too much. So, in this explainer, we're going to break down the essential strategies to help your plants do more than just survive. We want them to actually thrive through those scorching hot days.
So, what is it? Is the sun a friend or a foe? It's a fantastic question, right? Because on one hand, it's the very thing that gives our plants the energy to grow. But on the other, when those temperatures really start to climb, that same life-giving sun can turn into this overwhelming force. The real trick, the secret sauce, is finding that perfect balance. And that's exactly what we're going to get into.
So, what's actually going on with your plants when it gets super hot? Well, believe it or not, they get stressed out just like we do. And you can see it. You'll notice those sad, drooping, wilting leaves, maybe even some crispy brown spots from a plant sunburn. We call that leaf scorch. What it all boils down to is this: they're losing water way faster than their roots can suck it up. And our job? It's to be their ultimate support system. Okay, and that support system? It all starts with the most basic, fundamental thing of all: water. But listen, it's not just about cranking up the hose and spraying everything down. Nope. To really protect your garden, you have to be smart about it. You've got to water wisely. This is, without a doubt, your first line of defense. Now, this right here shows a super common mistake that so many of us make. We think a quick little sprinkle every day is the way to go, right? Well, that's the shallow method you see on the right, and it's a real problem. It actually creates these weak, kind of lazy, shallow roots that just hang out near the surface, waiting for their next quick fix. What you really want to do is water deeply, but not as often. This forces those roots to grow down, 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 searching for moisture, which builds a way stronger, tougher, and more drought-resistant plant in the long run. So I know what you're thinking. How deep is deep? Well, the magic number is 6 inches. That's your goal. You want that water to soak at least 6 inches into the soil to get to the entire root zone. And hey, there's a really easy way to check this. About an hour after you've watered, just take a trowel or even a long screwdriver and poke it into the ground. If it comes out dry before you've hit that 6-inch mark, you know you need to let the water run a bit longer next time.
Okay, and here are some pro tips to do it super effectively. First, timing is everything. Water early in the morning. I'm talking like between 5 and 9 a.m. This is before the sun gets really high and just evaporates all your hard work. And super important, aim for the base of the plant, right at the soil. Getting the leaves all wet is a no-no. It can actually lead to fungal problems. And, if you want to be a real efficiency expert, soaker hoses or drip irrigation systems are your absolute best friends. They put the water exactly where it needs to go, with almost zero waste.
All right, so once you've got your watering strategy totally dialed in, it's time for our next layer of defense. And I want you to think of this one like sunscreen, but for your soil. Yep, let's talk about the magic of mulch. So what is mulch anyway? It's really just a protective layer of stuff that you spread over your soil. It could be wood chips, straw, shredded leaves. You've got lots of options. But its job in the summer is twofold, and honestly, it's a total game changer. First, it acts like insulation, keeping the soil cooler. And second, it dramatically slows down evaporation, which means it locks all that precious water you just added right into the ground. And the best part? Applying it is super easy. Step 1, get rid of any weeds in the area. Step 2, spread a nice, even layer about 2 to 3 inches thick. But now listen up, because this third step is absolutely crucial. You have to keep the mulch a few inches away from the actual plant stems. Don't pile it right up against them. You need to leave a little donut of space, a little breathing room. If you don't, moisture gets trapped against the stem, and that can lead to rot, which is the last thing we want. Okay, so we've watered deeply and we've put on our soil sunscreen. What's next? Well, for our third strategy, it's time to literally throw some shade. We're going to give our plants a much-needed break from those super intense, blazing rays of the sun. Even those tough plants that are labeled full sun can really struggle during a bad heat wave. Think about it. The sun is at its absolute most brutal in the afternoon. Providing just a little bit of temporary shade during that peak time can honestly be the difference between a happy, thriving plant and a sad, scorched one. And look, you don't have to go out and build some huge, permanent structure. You can buy commercial shade cloth. The kind that blocks about 30 to 50% of sunlight is perfect. Or you can just get creative. A patio umbrella works great. Even an old bed sheet stretched over a few stakes can do the trick. And of course, if you've got plants in containers, you have the easiest job of all. Just pick them up and move them to a shadier spot till the heat wave is over.
So, there you have it. Watering, mulching, and shading.
3 key strategies. Now, let's pull it all together into a simple, straightforward action plan that you can whip out the next time you see heat wave in the forecast.
And boom, here it is. This is your heat wave cheat sheet all in one place. Number 1, water deeply and early in the morning to build those strong roots. Number 2, keep that 2 to 3 inch layer of mulch going to hold in moisture and keep things cool. And number 3, give your plant some shade during peak sun, which is usually between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. That'll prevent stress and scorch. Seriously, these 3 things working together, they create an amazing defense system for your garden.
And that's really what this is all about, right? This isn't just about damage control or preventing the worst. It's about being proactive. By taking these steps, you're actually creating an environment where your garden can keep on growing, producing, and just plain flourishing, even when the weather seems like it's trying to work against you. So, I'm going to leave you with a final thought to chew on. As summers seem to get hotter and hotter, how can you start thinking about these ideas not just for a heat wave, but as a long-term strategy? Maybe it means picking more drought-tolerant plants from the get-go, or maybe it's finally planting that shade tree you've been thinking about. A little bit of planning now can create a garden that's so much more resilient for all the summers to come. Thanks for tuning in.